West War Room Rivals is sponsored by Emporia State Federal Credit Union. Learn more at esfcu.com. Text or call the number 620-342-2336 to get started today. ESFCU is the Shovix banking of choice, federally insured by the NCUA. This episode of West War Room Rivals is brought to you by JBW Solutions Industrial Safety Services, your remote safety partner no matter where work takes you. From the job site to the office, JBW Solutions brings OSHA 10 and 30 training, plus a full lineup of compliance services straight to your screen. Whether you're a small crew or a major operation, they make safety simple, accessible, and effective. Visit jbwsolutionsllc.com to learn more today and stay compliant wherever you are. West War Room Rivals is sponsored by Field Ops. Kansas sports fields just got an upgrade with Field Ops. Looking to reserve top quality sports fields in Kansas? Whether you're organizing youth tournaments, adult leagues, or weekend pickup games, Field Ops is your go-to platform for discovering and booking the best athletic fields across the state. Instant online reservations, detailed field info such as locations, amenities, and photos. Field Ops is also trusted by coaches, organizers, and athletes. From Wichita to Overland Park, Field Ops has got you covered with real-time availability and streamlined scheduling. Get in the game at gofieldops.com/Kansas-KS. That's gofieldops.com/Kansas-KS.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the War Room. We have a very special guest. He is making his return. But before we do that, let's go ahead and get our roll call in, starting with Cody.
What's going on, everybody? It's Cody, representing Raider Nation, repping the Westy Bestie merch. Don't forget to get it in the link below.
Right Brothers.
I am Austin, co-host, also representing Westy Bestie merch. You can find it in the same link Cody just mentioned.
I'm Corey, represent Broncos country, rocking the Jayhawks tonight as they are currently playing. So, yeah, we took care of President's Day last week, so we're on to the next one.
And I'm Matt. I'm going to be your host for tonight, representing Broncos country, also repping Adidas, since my Westy Bestie shirt is on its way. But we also are repping Spy, Optic, Shades. And if you guys use code ORANGE20, you get 20% off of your purchase. And we also want to thank JBW Solutions for their sponsorship, veteran-owned, community-driven, and safety-focused. Guys, we got our first returning guest here today.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Carl Pickens is rejoining the War Room. We're excited. He's actually got some questions for us and all of you. So, guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and welcome Carl.
Welcome back.
Welcome
hey guys,
back,
how you
man.
doing? How you doing?
Good.
Glad to be back. Repping Krav Maga tonight. So
We got to get you a Westy Bestie shirt, my friend.
We do, yeah.
You know what? My last year at Tennessee, actually my last couple of years, I wanted to play for the Raiders. I had a Raiders duffel bag, and
Okay.
I carried that thing with me everywhere I went. So I wanted to be a Raider, but it didn't work out.
That's
See,
the best news a Raiders fan has heard in decades.
I was gonna say, I've never heard anyone say they wanted to be a Raider.
Yeah, I was a big fan. I was a big fan of the Raiders.
Yeah.
They had Willie Gault, they had Sam Grady, they had Tim Brown.
We had a squad back then, you guys.
We
People
Yeah.
like to crap on the Raiders in the last 10 years. People don't realize back in the
Early 90s.
early 90s, early 2000s, we were a squad back then. So
Yeah.
all right, Carl, there we go. We'll get you one of these so that way you match the silver and black. All right.
Okay.
Oh,
Sorry, guys. We're just bromancing over here. Don't mind us. All right, Carl. So I got the first question for you. And, as we just went through the NFL preseason, we had the 53-man roster cut days happen for a majority of teams. Everyone's pretty much got their practice squads also situated. But when you played, can you describe what it was like playing in the preseason and then leading into the regular season during your time with the Bengals?
Yeah, the first couple of games, the starters and the reserves didn't really get that much time. It was for the draft guys that were drafted and, the free agents that was coming in. So it was more of a headache. We practiced, we went through training camp like, the rest of the guys. We really didn't get a chance to play. So for us, I know I was more anxious, ready to get the season started. And I think the guys, that had made the team were just happy that they made the team. They could breathe a little bit and get settled in. So they weren't as anxious as far as the cut down day. Those guys made it, so they could breathe. But I think the guys that were already on the team and knew they were already going to be on the team were just waiting for this preseason to come to an end so we can get to the real stuff.
Yeah. And then also too, back when you played, how much more intense was training camp and like preseason practice compared to today? Because obviously with the bargaining agreement over the last few years, I think they've modified at least how long you're allowed to play in the padded practices and all that. Is that right?
Yeah, training camp, when I played from 92 to 99, 2000, I know it was 6 weeks, sometimes twice a day, a lot of 2-a-days. You would get a Wednesday night off. So it was, we'd leave the dorm room at 7:30, get back at 10:30 at night. And that was for 6 weeks straight.
Wow.
It was rough. It was hot, it was a training camp. There was not that many walkthroughs, not that many pad or practices in shorts and helmets. It was brutal. If you made it through training camp, you were definitely in shape, ready to go. You had learned what you needed to learn in training camp, and like I said, that's why I know for me personally, I couldn't. The preseason is like, man, I just want to play. We've already put in all this work. It's time now to go out and play. It's a lot different now. It's more regulated. It's I haven't been to a training camp lately, but I've heard that it's I'm not going to say a walkthrough, but it's a lot easier to get through, and rightfully so because of injuries and things of that nature. But it's a big change from when I played until now.
Right.
Yeah, so I know you mentioned, the training camp's kind of brutal, and then you didn't play much, in the games, and you were just anxious to get going. But do you have a favorite training camp preseason moment, either like timing or just moment specifically that you can look back on and remember?
Our training camps, my first couple of years, our training camps were in this place called Georgetown. Or not, well, later it was in Georgetown, Kentucky, but earlier in my career it was in Wilmington, Ohio. And there is nothing up there. So toward the end of training camp, I can say it now. Some of the guys would sneak out and go back to Cincinnati, which was about an hour drive, hour and a half.
Sure.
Just to, find something to do. We would take the chance of getting caught or anything, but it was a drag. It was we had to manufacture things to do, guys to pick on, keys to hide, shoes to hide. There was a lot of things that we had to come up with, for entertainment because there was nothing in Wilmington, Ohio.
Yeah, so it's getting creative and trying to find civilization and finding ways to pass the time. Yeah, that could get interesting.
Yeah, sneaking out takes a lot of courage.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Takes a lot of bravery, and you've got to time it because Belichick said 11, so you've got to time it, and some of us got pretty good at it.
Did you ever prank any of your teammates?
Oh yeah. I was a big prankster. I know one time we had a team dinner, and myself, Darnay Scott, and David Dunn. We the three of us. We switched all the offensive linemen's shirt and ties, and so when they came down to get dressed, we just sat back and watched them argue over. They looked at their shirts. It's like, wait, this is, and they didn't figure it out. I don't even know if they figured it out now, but a couple of guys got to arguing about, well, that's my shirt. No, it's my shirt. My wife bought this shirt. And so we would prank a lot of the guys, again, there was not a lot of positives. So one of the guys would figured out how to make the phone ring in the locker room. and he would put the shaving cream in the ear part, and it would ring, and then just say, "Hey, Corey, phone." Then he, hang it on the little part right there, and he'd pick it up, and so there was a lot of stuff we would do, but just for fun.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things I miss about it. The camaraderie, being around the guys in the locker room, sharing stories, getting to know each other. It was a lot of fun, but just the, we didn't win a lot, and that's the part that took its toll.
Yeah. I know that, Matt, you have a follow-up, but Carl, was there a prank that got you really good?
No, because I did most of the pranking.
Oh, okay.
I did a lot of it. I was, I'm not going to say I was the head of it, but I don't know that I was ever pranked.
Okay.
You couldn't outsmart him.
Yeah, you had your head on a swivel. You knew something was up.
Yeah, because I was a little devious, and like I said, Darnay Scott and David Dunn, they helped me out. I mean, we would do anything. I mean, whatever we could do. Put the one of the shoes in, or put Vaseline in your shoe, or just whatever we could do, just to create some fun and excitement.
Yeah.
Going back to preseason a little bit, you said if you made it through training camp, which is probably the most brutal part of the offseason, you were in shape. But, talking about preseason a little bit, some of these teams today, they don't even play starters for most of the games.
Yeah.
So how much stock do you put into that? And do you think that has an effect on the regular season?
I think it can go both ways, because you've been in training camp already for 6 weeks or ever how long it is. So you're pretty familiar with what you're doing. So you don't necessarily have to go out and play a game that doesn't matter. I know that, they want to get you on film, a lot of the younger guys, to see how they react in game type situations. I've got that. But at the same time, if you're a veteran, you're on the team, you're under contract. So sometimes a preseason game is, it's not really relevant to what's going to happen, later on in the season, because you already know what you're doing. You're familiar with everything and everybody. So I think the preseason is more for the younger guys, the new guys, to see what they can do. But as a vet, I personally didn't get a whole lot out of it.
Yeah, and we always are excited to see some of these undrafted guys kind of come out of nowhere. They make the team. Was there anyone that you were in training camp with that kind of stood out and you were like, yeah, he's gonna make it?
Yeah, because our receiver group room, it would always change. Darnay, myself, and David, we were pretty much the staples there after my third year. So we would have guys coming in and out. Gunnar Twiner was a young guy out, I think, Eastern Illinois, came in, could really run. He made the team. A guy named Michael Jenkins, another receiver, struggled a little bit at first, but once he got a grasp of everything, he made the team. James Hunden from, I think, Portland State, came in, could run really good. He made the team. And you pull for those guys, because, you're a receiver and you're in the same room. So you're spending a lot of time together. So you want your guys to make the team. At that time we carried 6 receivers. So, you wanted the new guys. They looked up to you. They asked you for advice. They asked you, about certain aspects about the game. So you wanted them to do well, and you wanted, their time to shine, and you wanted them to make the most of it. So those 3 guys right there, they ended up making it. And I was real happy about it, because, you get to know them, and, they're not a first or second round pick, or if they're even drafted at all, but, they still have the determination. They still had some athletic ability, and they just needed the shot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maddie,
All right.
So yeah, we're gonna go ahead, Carl. Now let's kind of move into why we're here tonight. You had presented us with some questions that you wanted to get off to the listeners and people who are watching this show. So we're gonna actually hand the floor over to you and kind of let you dive into what you were wanting to ask.
Okay, I get asked this question a lot. How do you think you would fare in today's game as a receiver? And I think I would do pretty good. I mean, it's easier, for receivers to make plays now. But my question is, I wonder how the guys that are playing receiver now would work out, in the early 90s when I played up till the 2000s. I don't know. I think they would adjust, but, you've got your number one receiver getting 115, 120 balls. You've got your number two receiver getting 100 balls. I don't know that I see that because, Champ Bailey's not playing. Troy Vincent's not playing. Eric Allen is not playing. Ed Reed. Even some of the big hitters, Steve Atwater's not playing.
Ronnie Lott.
That these guys, Ronnie Lott, Tim McDonald, Blaine Bishop, these guys that took pride in tackling and wanted you, Cornell Lake, wanted you to feel something when you caught that ball, or wanted you to think twice about it. These type of guys are not playing anymore, so it's easier to catch balls now and make plays. But it would be interesting to see these guys catching these balls when that head can get knocked off, or that bell can get wrong, or you've got to go across the middle and Greg Lloyd's dropping into coverage, or something like that. It was a different game.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I think you can start kind of from the beginning with today's receivers, even going back to your time. So today they don't really have to deal with it, but right at the snap back in your time, you had a corner trying to get his hands on you.
Yeah.
Right. From the get-go, it's already different than what they're used to now. So timing's going to be different. You're going to get rerouted, and you just have to be tough right from the beginning. So I think that's a really good question to ask, because you can look just even right there off the snap, it's different.
Right there off the snap is different when you've got a Rod Woodson trying to jam you, when you've got Darrell Green, who is still probably fast to this day. Aeneas Williams, these guys took pride in jamming you at the line. So if in that time, if you could be the guy for 5 yards and get on top of him, you could make some things happen. But now the guys are off. I don't see much jamming at the line. So guys are now getting a free release, and they're wide open. The 50-50 ball is just, I don't see a lot of it today. The jump ball or anything like that. These guys are wide open. I don't see a lot of bracket coverage. So it's changed, and but again, it's working, and these guys are making it happen, and they're putting up some good numbers. So you can't be mad. I just wonder how it would work. If, it was a little bit different.
That's probably what you dreamed about in your time, right? Like, you went to sleep at night hoping you would get a free release.
I went to sleep at night wondering, where Steve Atwater was. Before, because these guys, and another guy that I've never been hit harder in the whole time I've played football, was a guy named Bubba McDowell. He played for the Oilers, number 25. This dude he's got to be the hardest hitter. Well, the guy that's hit me the hardest was Bubba McDowell. I don't know where he is or what he's doing, but I would still stay away from that dude. He would make it hard for these guys, to want to catch these balls. You would definitely have to earn your paycheck, and because these guys were headhunters. It was legal. It was legal to get knocked out if you're looking back for the ball going across the middle. So guys like that, are not around. If they are, they're throttled back because of the safety of the game. And Antoine Bade, with the Colts, was a hard hitter.
Mm-hmm.
So these guys have had to scale back and play within the rules of the game, which again benefits the offense, and that's fine. But it's just a different game now.
Mm-hmm.
And it really is too, because if you think about it in today's game, in your era, there was no, hey, after 5 yards, you got to let him go. It was, I'm gonna get my hands on you, and we're gonna fight the whole route, whether it's 10 yards or 30 yards. So it really is going to depend on and I think some, like you said, some would actually adjust really well, depending on their physicality.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these guys in today's league are pretty physical receivers, and they love that contact. Cool, let's fight. I'm gonna earn my paycheck. You better earn yours.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it was back in your day. Let's earn our paycheck today, boys. So it definitely is going to depend on how physical are these guys willing to get, because some of them don't. Some of them are very you see them they're looking for the ref after every play, he got his hands on me. He got his hands on me. But it's yeah, he's doing his job,
Yeah. It's it's not flag football, but it's getting close, because they're taking the physical play, aspect out of it. And, for good reason, you want the guys to be safe out there, but still you don't want a guy, that you're paying a lot of money to be afraid to make a legal hit, so you still want the guys to have a bunch of leeway to go out and make plays. But at the same time, you're making it easier on the offense. And again, it's not a bad thing. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying that it's changed from when I played until now, because it is easier to get open. You rarely see a guy have to fight for the ball. I don't see it, and I basically just watch the receivers and DBs the whole game. The majority of these, and it has something to do with the offense. The offenses have evolved. They're spread out. The tight ends are catching 80 balls a game. The guy out there in San Francisco with the long hair. George Kittle. He's catching 80, 90 balls a game. So they're a big factor in the game now. So it's just a different game.
I think there's a couple receivers, and you'd mentioned 5 of them last time you were on with this. I'd really like to see DK Metcalf, because I think with his build and what he's able to do, I think he may be one who, I think he could take on someone on the middle. I don't know if he would enjoy it, obviously.
Yeah.
But then you think of the speedsters, like Jamar, Tyreek, some of those guys. I think just a couple years ago in the postseason, you saw Tyreek Hill playing against the Chiefs, and the Chiefs corner sat there and just literally grabbed him at the line and basically was physical with him and didn't let him off the line. And then, Tyreek kind of was invisible that game because, again, they were able to get hands on him and keep him from getting by them. But yeah, I think DK Metcalf would be one that I would probably circle. I think he's one I would love to see playing back when you did.
Yeah, DK, he's physical, he's big, he can run, he's strong, he can use his body. But you mentioned Tyreek Hill right there. With his speed, he has to operate in space.
Yep.
And if, just like you said, you take that space away from him, and he's a non-factor. But if you mess around and give him his space, then he's gonna hurt you, no doubt about it. The same way with Jamar Chase and Jefferson up there in Minnesota. There's a lot of guys that can get open, if you give them space. But again, you have to. It's a give and take. If you get beat at the line, they're probably gonna make a play. But you can't jam them anymore. So it's a catch-22.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it has to do. I think there's more option routes now. And you correct me if I'm wrong. There's a lot more option routes now in today's game where maybe when you played, I'm not sure if the option route was kind of as big as what it is now. But now you're going to ask, a smaller slot receiver to come in the middle where there's going to be linebackers there. I'd love to see one of those guys with Ray Lewis or someone who's just waiting there in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
Do you think scheme has a lot to do with that?
I think scheme plays a big factor in it because you can game plan against an aggressive linebacker. If Ray Lewis is gonna take that play fake and bite up, then you're
Mhm.
gonna throw it over his head, and not worry about him anymore. But like I said, tight ends can run. I mean, they could run back in the day, but you see tight ends being a big part of the offense now.
Right.
The fullback, not so much anymore. I think they call him the Y now,
Mhm.
or whatever. But he's getting a few balls out of the backfield. The quarterbacks are rolling out a little bit more. You see a lot of the quarterbacks 6'5" and 6'6" now,
Mhm.
making plays, able to see over the offensive line. So it's just it's a big man's game, but for the most part, it's a little easier to get things done now. Because there
Mhm.
is no Ray Lewis. There is no I don't know Michael Singletary
Right.
or these guys that just
Brian
thrive
Dawkins,
on
that's the one I think of.
chaos and destruction.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
these guys, took pride in making it hurt when you get tackled. So, but I mean, it is what it is.
Mhm.
I want to flip it on the other side now. You against today's corners, what would be you? What are you looking for, and what are you doing to beat that? Are you just running them over?
To
No,
feast.
I'm not going to run them over. I would do the same thing. I would take the same approach. Um, just try to get open
Mhm.
and make a play. I would hopefully have a good relationship with my quarterback, and he would know if even if I don't have him beat or even if he's on me, go ahead and throw it.
Uh-huh.
I'll get it, and I'll make a play. Jeff Blake and I had that understanding, so I don't see it. I'm not bragging or anything, but I just don't see it.
We'll do it for you. You would have cooked in this era. We'll say it for you.
Personal
I
route, we'll
think
say
I
it
think
again.
so
Yeah.
because
Talk your game, Carl.
Yeah.
yeah, I think so because I mean I played in an era where it was a little bit harder and more difficult to get open and make
Right.
plays, and I was doing this against bracket coverage,
Right.
double teamed and
Yeah.
corner here, safety over the top. So now, like I said, you've got your number two receiver, getting 80 balls. So
Mhm.
who are you going to cover? And then if you take both of us away, you've got a tight end that's getting 90 balls a year.
Mhm.
So, and then you've got a third receiver that can come in and make plays. So the offense now, there's enough of it to go around. 100 balls is what, 6 a game now, maybe.
Mhm.
Yep.
So it's possible.
I mean, quarterbacks nowadays are throwing it almost 40 times a game now. So
Yeah.
if you're only setting it up for 3 receivers, a little bit to the tight end, now even to running backs, most running backs now, if they're not, multi-dimensional with being able to catch out of the backfield or, read between the tackles or go on the outside, they're pretty much not going to get much playing time on the field. I do say, though, there are some elite exceptions, and I think you pointed this out, that could make the adjustment to like back in your era to play. And I think it's because, they're natural athletes, they're skilled and stuff like that. But I'm actually curious. So when you are approaching and you have, Eric Allen that's lined up or Rod Woodson who's lined up in front of you, instead of like today's modern receivers who are thinking about, okay, the footwork to be elusive, to get off the line, what is your technique to get open or even the little minuscule space that Blake is able to find you when you're lining up with that DB? What's your technique off the line to even get open?
Well, my mindset would be if I knew I was going against Rod or Eric Allen or Troy Vincent or any of these top corners, I wanted to set the tone. On the run plays. If a run play is called, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to be real aggressive blocking. And then when it comes time for a pass play, I'm going to be aggressive. If it's not my play called, I'm going to come off that line. I'm going to hit. I'm going to push, grab, and I'm just going to try to set the tone. Because the way I looked at it was, yeah, you may be faster than me, but other than that, that's about it. So when my play is called in the huddle, I'm honed in, I'm locked in, and when that ball's in the air, it's mine. You're not going to out jump me. I'm high jumping 7'1" in high school.
My
Oh,
gosh.
shoot. Yeah.
So you're not going to out jump me. So I just felt like I could make a play on anybody at any time, just given the opportunity. Again, you're going to jam me sometimes, and sometimes I'm not going to win at the line, and that's fine. But sometimes I will.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the approach I took. I wanted to set the tone. I wanted to be the more aggressive one between, myself in the corner, and just put myself in positions to make the play.
Mm-hmm. So a couple of DBs that we've actually talked to since actually talking to you was like Eric Coleman, Eric Warfield. We also talked to Quentin Jammer, and all of them equally said that, of course, today's game is a little bit different than when they played. And we all kind of surmise not only is it the physicality, but it's psychological, right? Like if you got a receiver that is going to challenge, a linebacker, or, again, this DB that's coming for a headshot, you're challenging them, and your job as the defender to that offensive player is to make them think twice about, am I going to catch this ball? Should I catch this ball? Am I going to risk my safety for that? And their job is to make sure that you do not catch this ball. So, and to your credit, like your job is to make sure that you win that mind game before the ball is snapped. And their mind game is to make sure that if you do catch this, you will not make this play again, because you do not want whatever they're going to deliver to you as a consequence, So I think that's just, when we hear this in modern day NFL, we couldn't fathom, oh my gosh, the stuff that we've seen with Ed Reed, Ronnie Lott, Champ Bailey, just because, like, for the safety of the players, which is great, but also, like, this is why some receivers could get over 120 catches a year, because there is no consequences to making a play in the middle, because now it's the safest thing you can do, with the penalty to not let someone land safely in a zone. That wasn't there even 5 years ago,
Yeah, because there is no Quentin Jammer now. I mean,
Right.
that guy was a beast also.
Mm-hmm.
He enjoyed, making plays, knocking guys out. That's what he got paid to do. So that was his job. So it is different, but at the same time, back to me and the guy across from me, even on the run plays, if he jammed me on a pass play, on a run play, I would try to block him as hard as I could. A little forearm to the chin never hurt anybody. So it's just a game within itself.
Yeah.
And I welcomed the opportunity to, go against these guys. It didn't matter. Like I said, no, I wasn't a speedster, but I could get open, I could make plays. So I just welcomed the opportunity just to go out and have the opportunity to make some plays.
Yeah, and I'm trying to sit here and think, when's the last time I kind of saw that cornerback DB or the receiver and DB matchup, like where they're both kind of equally physical. We could say DK and Ramsey. I don't know if that was really just physical or they both just hated each other and wanted to like slap each other. Yeah. So I'm actually thinking, and I'm going to go in our AFC West division here. I actually think the last time you kind of got that quote unquote old school era feel was Aqib Talib and Michael Crabtree.
I remember that. Yeah.
Now, over years that got heated and everything, but like Talib did make it easy on Crabtree, and we'll be honest, Crabtree didn't make it easy on Talib. Yeah. But I can't. I'm not going to speak for everyone, but y'all know me. I would tune in a lot more if we saw more of that. If we saw more of that one-on-one, like, I don't know. So yeah, I was sitting here and trying to think, like, when's the last time we saw it? But that's still been 10 years, guys?
Yeah.
2015, 16, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that matchup. And I'm an offensive guy, and during my time, Crabtree or myself, if Talib's running his mouth a little bit, I would cut him. I would just, hey, you want to talk? It's a run play. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to cut you again and again and again, just because that's the nature of the business. I loved it. And the thing about me was, for the most part, I'm a quiet guy. But, if you start running your mouth, then I'm not going to stop.
Conversations, you called them.
And it's going to be a conversation, and I'm I'm not going to stop.
Yeah.
So I remember Talib, he could cover. I thought, it would have been interesting if I was a receiver coach with Crabtree. I'd say, hey, man, this forearm right here and that chin, that'll shut that mouth up, But,
Yep.
hey, it's a different time now.
Yeah.
It is, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I want to see more of that, though, like more of what you did. But yeah, go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, and to bring up your point, that's one of the things I miss too. Like when receivers would welcome that contact, even going back to Talib's days as a Patriot and a Buck, his rivalries with Steve Smith. Hey, ice up, baby. Like that. That's what I miss. Like that confrontation. You always look forward to those matchups. Even Champ Bailey and Marvin Harrison, who brought up everything. It was either let's try to outrace each other, or let's see who can outbox one another, per se. But that's one of the things Hines Ward, Steve Smith, all these receivers that welcome it, you yourself, kind of like, hey, bring on the contact, but you better be able to outbox me. And
Hines Ward. Hines Ward is another guy that was a very physical receiver. If if Hines caught you chasing that ball, and it comes back, Hines is going to knock you out. I think he was one of the reasons they outlawed the
say that.
So you can't do that anymore. That's a way to get back at the defensive guys. So you can't do that anymore. So, Hines was definitely a physical receiver. He could have played in today's game. I don't know if it'd been much fun because, he's very physical and he enjoyed the contact. He would look for contact. So, he's another guy that would flourish in today's game and make as many plays as he wanted to, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I'm hearing a bunch of knockouts in boxing, so I think we need to bring up the obvious here. That Andre Johnson and Cortland Finnegan. Anyone remember those? Like,
oh yeah.
Did you see they had him sign? Like someone made a model of that, and he actually autographed like a little figurine of him boxing Cortland Finnegan.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to see it to that level, but like, I want them to be so physical through a game where like you want to do that.
Yeah. Football's a physical game, and that's part of it. You have to. It used to be a gladiator sport, but they've toned it down a lot. But at the same time, it calls for some physicality. I mean, it's just it's part of it. The defensive end and the left tackle are going to go at it. So it is what it is.
Well, and speaking of. You brought up quarterback, and I wanted to make this point a little bit earlier too. And we're talking about receivers going against DBs, but a lot of things that have changed also starts at the quarterback position, how safe they get to feel when you got an edge coming around and that edge can't really put their full weight essentially into the quarterback anymore, or you can't really fall at the feet, even though they can't control themselves wherever they're landing. And you got quarterbacks now, granted, like the pocket collapses with a poor offensive line still. I mean, it is still football, but you can't touch a quarterback like you used to before, to where maybe that quarterback now figuratively sees ghosts to where now they're not up to their game. So it even helps the defense even more. Or, maybe they step up their game to where that receiver now makes a play for their guy, gives them confidence. And to your point, it's a chess match. It's a physicality thing. So if you're going to bully a team into submission because they're scared of you, you've won. And so your job is to combat that by letting them know after you've scored why they can't stop you,
Yeah, and at the same time, you mentioned the quarterbacks. They just get the 5-step drop, 7-step drop. They've got time, to look around. They're safe, so they don't have to really worry about anybody, coming up from behind. Illegal tackling them. So they've got time to pick and choose where they want to throw the ball. Not all of them, depending on your offensive line, but take them Mahomes.
Right.
He can get back there and sit around and look and see what's happening and pick his target, and make plays like that, and not worried about getting rolled up on the back or knocked out. It's just they're making it easier all the way around. Like you said, you can't tackle a quarterback down low. That's a penalty. So they're a little bit more at ease, they get to step back and, look around and see what's happening and make some plays. But these guys, you look at Josh Allen is, 6'5". Justin
Right.
Herbert is like 6'4", 6'5". I mean, these guys are huge,
Right.
so they're able to, take a little bit of punishment, but at the same time, they know that, they don't have to worry about too much if they've got a good offensive line.
Well, not today, because compound interest, it adds up over time. I mean, and I want to point out Cam Newton was mobile quarterback, great arm, but over time with putting his body on the line with being a run first quarterback, he got pounded a lot to where towards the latter part of the season, his shoulder was messed up. He could hardly throw, or legs went out. And again, because during his early times, he was meant to, set the tone of like, I'm going to hit you too, just like you're going to hit me. But again, compound over compound, it just, wore him down.
Yeah, at the same, when Cam was running, I guess when, he decided to take off and run, he became a running back or something, or he wasn't protected. So, and they weren't sliding as much now then as they do now. They're able to slide now and, avoid the hit. But Cam, he relished the opportunity to get hit. He was like 6'5", 260, solid, And
he's about a linebacker size to go against a linebacker.
Yeah.
Walk us through some of the hot routes that you like. Now you see the hot routes, you see the signs, the signals. What did you see when you were like, hey, we should probably do a hot route here and switch something up?
I remember one time. We had this play called face mask. If the DB was about 8 yards off, Jeff Blake, our quarterback, he would touch his face mask and I would touch mine to know that I saw him, and I would just stand there.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd throw it and I'd take off running. So that worked for a little bit. And then I was the blitz guy. I would pick up the blitz. If a guy blitzed on the other side, I would see it, just run a little hitch route and about 7 yards and catch it. But now, with the audibles and the defense moving around so much, if you and the quarterback are on the same page and you've got it worked out, you can get an extra 10 to 15 balls a year, just like you said, off of hot routes.
Right. So, Carl, this question is not to say that you didn't respect or really appreciate the quarterbacks that you played with during your time, but if there was one quarterback that you wished you would have played with, who would that have been?
On the Bengals or any
in general, just any quarterback.
Well, John Elway.
Oh
yeah.
And here's why, because after my last season at Tennessee, Denver, they brought myself and Chris Mims out to Denver for a visit.
Yeah.
And Denver management or whoever specifically told me, if you're there at the 25th pick, we're going to take you.
Uh-huh.
Denver had the 25th pick in the 1992 draft. And so the 25th pick rolls around and I'm ready, and they take Tommy Maddox.
Oh, that's right. I remember that. Okay.
They take Tommy and it hurt.
Yeah.
It hurt bad because John Elway was the man. So I always wondered what would have happened if I had gone to Denver.
I think he was like the Josh Allen, obviously before Josh Allen, because he could run and he had a rocket arm, if I'm not mistaken. I mean,
he had a rocket arm, and he was there. And Dan Henning or Dan, what's the guy's the coach?
Dan Reeves.
Dan Reeves. Yeah, Dan Reeves was there at the meeting, and we like you and this and that. I was like, man, I'm going to Denver at the 25th pick. And
I can say
it didn't happen.
Matt and I actually talked about that after the first time we had you on. We were like, could you imagine? Because we brought up the question the last time you were on here is, what were your stat line have been in today's game? But then I was like, Matt, could you imagine what his stat line would have been if John Elway was throwing him the football?
Yeah, because we did one too where, Andre Reed, he had a little bit of time in Denver. So, what if he actually stayed in Denver? And we were kind of thinking, what if Carl Pickens went to Denver?
Yeah.
That Rod Smith, Carl Pickens, that receiver duo, possibly a new Three Amigos, but
Shannon Sharp was there at the time.
Yeah.
They had the Three Amigos. I can't remember their names though.
Smith,
what if?
McCaffrey.
Yeah. No,
Smith, McCaffrey, and there's one other one.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah. I don't.
It wasn't Carl Pickens. That's all we know. That's unfortunate. Well, and Carl, so in my opinion, if I were to even move your career even a few years forward, I would have said Peyton Manning and you would have been a match made in heaven.
Oh, no doubt.
Because the sheriff over there, he would have, not only would you have still had the same mindset to pick up the blitzes, see the routes and whatever, he would have set you on a course to probably have like a 2,000-yard reception year because that ball's coming out. He sees the defense. He's gonna make that defense look silly, despite going against Ed Reed and all those other headhunters. He would have made you. I think you and him would have been a match made in heaven, if I'm being honest.
It's that Tennessee connection.
Yeah, the Tennessee connection. That guy was a genius because it seemed like Marvin Harrison was never covered. It was like even the second guys were always wide open. I'm like, how does this happen? But again, Peyton, the genius that he is, he had it down, man. He knew everything. I mean, he knew it was going to happen way before it happened. So he was ahead of his time, and I forgot about him. But but in '92, it would have been.
Sure, John Elway was still really, really good then. Yeah, that's still a great answer.
Yeah.
No, I'm thinking. So not to say I did, but I did. I went and watched a bunch of Carl Pickens highlights, especially after the last time we had you on. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting here thinking, the first thought that came into my head after watching your highlights, you were kind of Odell Beckham before Odell Beckham.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean off the field stuff, all right? I'm just talking on a football field.
Mm-hmm.
With the athleticism, the jumping, the hands. So I'm curious, since you watching football, kind of since you retired or anything, has there ever been a guy you watch where you're like, I really see myself in him?
Yeah, there's a few guys. Again, I like DeAndre Hopkins. I do.
Yeah.
I just like the way he runs the routes. He comes out of the route. He catches with his hands. Sometimes he'll body catch, but I like the way he runs his routes. I don't know.
You really do jump out of a gym, though. Like, you're not kidding about that. Like, some of those, when I see you get up, I'm like, he's got to be 35 feet off the ground.
There was a reel you posted a couple of days ago, and you were in double coverage, and you just went up. I think it was a game against Dallas, and you just went up, and you made it look so easy. And I'm like, my Lord, how does he do it?
See, that should be changed too. You got Pickens, not Moss, because he was doing that before Moss.
Yeah. Well, see, when you play in Cincinnati, you don't really get a lot of love. Any of the accolades that come along with playing up there. But there's a lot of great receivers out there. But I think I'm one of them. I think I Googled top 10 receivers of the '90s a couple of days ago, and I think I was maybe like 15 or 18 or something like that, which is, it is what it is. But again, I'm doing this on, a 7-9 team, a 3-13 team, 6-10. So some of these guys, not taking anything away from them, but they had a lot of help and a lot of, positive things going on. So, I played the cards that I was dealt, and I guess it worked out the way it was supposed to.
I got to say, after watching Carl Pickens highlights for about 4 hours after the last time, I'd have a hard time thinking there's 14 guys I'm going to take before Carl. Like,
there is. I know Jerry Rice, the staples, Jerry Rice,
14 of them.
I don't know about 14.
Irvin,
We're only
Chris
at
Carter.
We're at 4, maybe tops. I think I don't.
top 5, maybe. Who knows?
Andre Reed was on that list.
Sure.
Herman Moore was on that list.
See, but now I think this is exactly where you're in that, Andre Reed, Herman Moore, Chris Carter,
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, okay, I get, Jerry Rice is Jerry Rice. Let's not all,
Yeah.
we're not dumb. Like, Jerry Rice
Well,
is
look
Jerry
who's
Rice.
throwing him the ball.
Well, that's
Yes.
true.
Yeah.
Carl
Twice.
Pickens with all them.
From Joe Montana to Steve Young. I mean,
Well, I think that's why when I asked you the quarterback question is because I think, and again, this is not to disparage the quarterbacks that you played with, your relationship with them, or the production that you guys did together with what you had. You guys made it work. But I guess when I ask you that question, I'm curious, like, if there was any quarterback that you got a chance to play with, how much more success would you have with your skills that you had on a team that underperformed, we can say comfortably, and then now you're on a team that, is a true threat in whatever conference that you're playing in because you got a quarterback, you had a system, you had a team, how much more of Carl Pickens' career would have really influenced the wins and all that stuff. That's why I'm selfishly asking you that quarterback question is like, I'm sure there's some quarterbacks that you would have had, more than just all pro numbers. You would have been setting records for sure because you'd have had teams that were playing for more than just, just going out there,
Yeah, and I look at it like this. It's hard to get some numbers when you go 3 and out all the time. You know? It's hard to even get hurt when you go 3 and out. So it's just one of those deals where I look back and think what would have happened if I'd have been in Dallas with Troy Aikman, instead of Alvin Harper. Alvin's a friend of mine, he was drafted ahead of me. Or, what if I'd have went to Dallas instead of him, and I'd have been on the other side of Michael Irvin.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you just ask yourself, well, what if? But again, it ended up in Cincinnati, and we had Boomer my rookie year.
Mm-hmm.
He came back in '97. Had I had him the whole time, we drafted David Klingler the same year as I did. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for David, but and Boomer still had some ability. He was a hell of a quarterback. I mean, just great guy. Had I had him for 9 years, who knows what would have happened? I don't know. It's a maybe that's something I'll have to think about next time I come on or something like that.
Oh yeah.
There you go. And not to take anything away from what you absolutely did in Cincinnati. I mentioned last time you still had one of the greatest 3-year stretches statistically that we've seen from a receiver. This is us sitting here saying well, Carl Pickens, you came up short. No, you were still a hell of a player in your own right. One of the all-time greats for sure. And when I'm saying I have a hard time picking 14, I'm not talking stats. I'm going off what I've seen, straight ability, right? Your ability that I've seen. Honestly, you jumping out of the gym was what caught my eye the most. I'm like, holy crap! How is this doing this? Is this dude an alien? How is he? This shouldn't be legal. So I'm just talking pure ability, right? Some stats might have been better somewhere, but when I was seeing your route running, your physicality, and then you just literally jumping out of the gym, I have a hard time thinking just off of those abilities that there's a whole hell of a lot of people that I would take before Carl Pickens.
Well, you know what? I appreciate that. And, my question is, and I'm asking honestly because I don't know.
Okay.
What exactly is the criteria for the Hall of Fame?
Mm-hmm.
Because winning is a part of it. I know you have to be in a good situation as far as winning. I don't know if you have to make a certain amount of Pro Bowls. I know you have to have at least 10,000 yards, I think. But other than that, I don't know. But like you just mentioned, Austin, I did these things, and I'm not lobbying for a Hall of Fame. I'm just there's guys that are more numbers than me that are not in, and I think Andre Rison should be in. There's some others that I think should be in ahead of me, but I'm just wondering what do you have to do, or how does it work?
Yeah.
We've had this question with Coach Vermeil. We kind of mentioned that with coaches because he was like, he still doesn't know how Mike Shanahan's not in. That's where he went with that.
And he said Dan Reeves isn't in either. That's a travesty.
Yeah.
So Marty Schottenheimer. So like,
and
even
then there's
Quentin
guys that
Jammer
have won
was
one
saying
Super
things
Bowl
like
that
that.
are in. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, what is the criteria? Like, how is this determined? Because you have guys that have like 0 Pro Bowls, 0 MVPs and whatnot, and they're in the Hall of Fame. So it's like, what about the other guys? What about them? What about their act? Not saying like they haven't done enough, those ones that didn't win anything, but like, what about the ones that did win something? You know?
And it's tough because Carl's mentioned it a couple times. Your situation plays a big part of it.
Yeah.
We can say it now, and no disrespect, but I think we can all agree, like, if Patrick Mahomes went to the Bears, you know what I mean? And it's his situation where he came to Kansas City, he had a guy like Andy Reid with him. He got to learn from Alex Smith for a year. His situation would have been drastically different in Chicago. We might not even be talking about Patrick Mahomes right now if he went to Chicago. And it's no disrespect for him. He still has the ability, but your situation matters. So I think that should be part of the criteria. Like, okay, Carl Pickens is out here having, 9,000 yards and 17 touchdowns in a season. In this situation, like, that's more impressive than a lot of things, right? So I think situation should be part of the criteria. That's my one thing on it, right? We know it's stats, but you got to look at situation because not every situation is the same.
Right.
Yeah, and I looked at Mark Clayton's stats the other day. There's no reason why this guy, with Dan Marino throwing in the ball, there's no reason why he should. Again, I don't know what the reasons are, but if you're basing it on numbers, I think he should be in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Terrell Owens is an example when he was not even inducted in his first ballot, and I think at the time he was second all time in receiving touchdowns or third at least. So he had the numbers to back it up. But again, at the time when he played, media was starting to kick off, and he was in competitive markets like San Francisco and Philadelphia. Philadelphia is very hard, and I think sometimes whoever the voters are, whoever the ones that declare it, unfortunately, they loop in everything. Like, how do they consider your character? What did you do when you got onto these teams? And then the question becomes, well, okay, is this the Hall of Fame based on your acolytes, or is this a, do you like me enough kind of a competition, which most players are like, well, I wasn't playing football to be liked. I was playing football to be great. And, what their body of work should get them in. But, again, whoever the writers are that tell you you're a Hall of Famer or not, who knows what that relationship was during that time, and a bunch of inside stuff. None of the five of us are ever going to know, but that definitely plays a part, because why are some of these coaches, players being overlooked for other players that don't have nearly as good as stats as somebody else that is more deserving?
Okay. Cody, I thought it was just me. So it's
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 all of us.
Yeah,
again, even if you look at Rod Smith's career, he was an undrafted free agent, and look at his accolades. And until Antonio Gates broke all those records, but Antonio Gates ended up in the Hall of Fame before he did. So how does it work? So that was like, okay, what are you looking at here? That's
and the difference between Smith and Gates is Smith is a 2-time Super Bowl champion. Gates is not, and yet Gates got in first. So we're not sure, like, what's really the criteria. Is it the championships? Is it the stats? Do you like me more than this guy? What is it?
It's just like the Pro Bowl. It's a popularity contest.
Yeah. Now I can speak on the Pro Bowl. Yeah, it is a popularity contest. Yeah. But
man, I'm glad we got that out. That was good.
Yeah.
All right,
that was a good event session.
That was great. Let's transition to the lightning round, and we'll have a little bit more fun with these. So, Carl, with some of the receivers, again, we're talking about in today's time, is there a receiver that comes to mind that you are excited to see that may have a breakout year?
Yes, I would like to see this guy that Dallas just signed. His name is George Pickens. I would like to see what kind of year he's going to have, because for whatever reason, it didn't work out in Pittsburgh. He's got some athletic ability. He's got some talent. He can run. He can catch. So I'm wanting to see what he can do in a new system with Dak, and see if it's him or if it's his game.
Mhm.
I want to see what his deal is. So I want to see what kind of numbers he puts up this year.
And
Well, he's
getting
definitely
to
going to have a
play-
lot of opportunity because there's no Micah now. So
Yeah.
go Dallas, I guess.
Yeah.
right, and getting to play opposite of CD. And yeah, I think life should be easier for him because
Mhm.
no matter how you feel about George Pickens, again, we're talking popularity contest. No matter how you felt, that dude has hands and he has a large catch radius.
Yeah. And,
So,
and like you said, maybe Pittsburgh was just wrong situation for him.
Yep.
Yeah. Any relation to George Pickens?
No,
Just
I was wondering. I'm
yeah,
like,
just making sure. I was like,
no.
All right,
I
I
get
got a
that a
Bengals
lot.
question. I got a Bengals question for you. Is Jamar and T going to go for 1,000 yards each this year?
I think so. I think they will, barring any injury or any setbacks. They're going to pick up right where they left off last year. I mean, it's their third and fourth year in this offense. Joe just continues to get better. I mean, he's unreal. They're comfortable with each other. They really like each other off the field. They get along. They work off of each other. So yeah, that's we talked about this earlier. Your second guy can get 100 balls and probably 1,000 yards too. And they may have to because their defense has got to pick it up. They finally got Trey back, but still they had him last year and they still had to throw the ball 45 times a game. So we'll see.
Yeah, they're not only really good together, but I think they're going to have to put up a lot of points a lot of weeks. So the opportunities are going to be there.
Yeah.
With that, we got a kind of a hypothetical for you. So it's 4th and goal from the 5-yard line. What play does Carl Pickens call?
It's just the lob. Just throw it up.
It's a lost art.
Just keep it in. I mean, if it's Jeff, just keep it in bounds. I'm going to go get it. I mean, it is what it is.
You know how many times I watch a game and I'm like, here's a goal line fade. And I'm like, dude, that hasn't been a thing since like 2019.
Yeah.
I don't know why teams go away from it. It's like when you do it right, it's unstoppable.
Yes.
Yep. He obviously throws the ball to me.
Yeah, just keep it in bounds. I'll get it.
Yeah.
And if I can't get it, I'll make sure he doesn't get it.
Yeah. So the 4th and goal, I'm just going to make sure Carl on 4th and goal from the 5 is calling it to me. Just throw it to me. Just throw it to me.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what I expected.
No Marshawn Lynch, nothing here.
Yeah.
I got this.
Malcolm Butler wouldn't have picked it off if it was to Carl, all right?
No. I got it.
All right, Carl, last question for you. Do you think the Bengals did enough on the defensive side of the ball to make that Super Bowl push?
As far as drafting, it remains to be seen. I mean, they had a good group last year. I don't know where they ranked as far as run defense. I don't know where they ranked as far as pass defense, but at times they struggled. At times it was hard enough to get off the field. I think his name is Shamar Stewart. I think that's his name. We'll see. I mean, he's a rookie, and he'll be schemed against. I mean, these offensive guys will play to his weaknesses, and because he's rookie, he doesn't really know anything right now. So I don't know. I mean, I've got to see the first couple of games and see what he does, and see if Trey Henderson's in shape and all these things. I know we got a couple of new cornerbacks, but we'll see. I mean, they've got to gel, and they've got to gel quick because Baltimore's back, and they're not going anywhere. So who knows what's going to happen in Pittsburgh, with Rodgers. So we'll see.
At least you got the Browns.
Yeah, we've got the Browns. I think we'll see. I mean,
I'm glad nothing changes. The Browns are the Browns. We can count on that. All right. Well, guys, this has been a blast. Carl, man, thank you again so much for shooting us the question. I love that you wanted a platform to chat about today's receivers against time that you would have played. It was a great honor for you to come back. I hope you're down to come back a third time and a fourth time and many more times. We still have our guys' night out that we need to plan. So I really hope that we can make this a regular thing.
Hey, listen, guys. Anytime, just give me a heads up. I'm here. If something is bugging me, like this question was, I'll reach out and
Oh yeah.
we'll go at it. But I really appreciate you guys this time.
No,
We
thank
got to
you.
get you a Westy Bestie shirt. We got to
Bring
get
it
you
on.
that.
I'll
right,
send
well-
you my address.
Perfect. We'll get an address and a shirt size from you. Okay.
All right. Good.
All
Deal.
right. Thank you,
All right,
sir.
guys.
Appreciate you.
All right.
Oh man,
Guys,
I love that guy so much.
Man, he's awesome, dude.
Eddie, we need to put a shirt design in there real quick before we send it. So I know ours says Westy Bestie, and this is nothing else, but since he's our first returning one, and let's be honest, man, like we're best friends with Carl. I'm gonna say it.
He's he's our bestie, and he wanted to be a Raider. That made my night.
No, but what I'm saying is
We was just trying to get you.
Why are you glossing over that, Austin? He clearly wants to be a Raider.
Yeah,
No, that's where I'm going with this.
He wanted to play with John Elway, so
yeah.
And he wanted to play in Denver the last time.
Anyway, Cody, we take the Westy Bestie,
Okay.
and we just add a best to the top. He's our best Westy Bestie.
All right. Let's hope our other Westy Besties don't take aim at that. And it's like, hey, where's my best?
He's our first return one.
He is, and he's a phenomenal.
This month too, so it's like
That's true. So
that would be a killer matchup, wouldn't it? I'd have to go back. I don't think they would. They wouldn't.
They didn't overlap.
No. I
He
think
knew about Jammer though. He's like Jammer was a beast.
Yeah, well, because Jammer laid the wood down if you came his way. So
Quentin would probably love to hear that because he'd be like, "Yeah, that's me."
Yeah.
We got to make sure. Yeah, we got to make sure Quentin knows about that. That he still talked about from receivers from the '90s that played in that era. Like his game is still respected on both sides. So,
whoa.
We take no offense to that, Meg. No, it's not. Yeah.
Wait,
You're still
what are we taking offense to?
And remember, you still have an open invite to the show too. Like,
right?
I think she's taking exception that she's not the best Westy Bestie.
Well, that's because she's across the pond bestie. All right.
Yeah, I mean, but she also knows that she has an open invite anytime. So
anytime.
Absolutely.
Anytime.
It's like it's as simple as, "Hey guys, I would like to come back on the show."
Just
and then
message me and be like, "Hey, Boo Thing, I'm ready to come on the show." And we'll make it happen.
Hey, but I get it because I was afraid to ask Corey and Austin if I can come back on their show. So I get it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I get it, but like I guess from Matt, you kept saying, "I just don't want to invite myself onto your show," and I'm sitting here like, "Do it! Like, look at us. Do you think?"
Like, wait, hold on. Look at you.
We have no. Always invite yourself on. I mean, even Carl can send us a message like, "I want to come back on your show."
Yeah, I can't wait till he cooks up any other questions.
Look at me. I've never played a snap in the NFL, but here's Carl with 40 touchdowns in a 3-year span. So, Carl Pickens or ugly white dude over here in California.
I mean,
that's true. I mean, what? I think it's awesome that he was, more than willing to just talk ball, and he was just like, you know what, this question was itching me, so I'm gonna reach out to my war room fellas. Like,
yeah,
I think that was the coolest part to hear. He was like, you know what, this was itching at me, so I reached out. So I thought that was really awesome. Carl, I mean, yeah, it's only been on twice, but I can say like every time he's been on, it's been an absolute blast.
Oh yeah.
And we really do need to plan a trip to meet up with him at Midwest Barbecue, do a golf thing. Now that I know that he plays guitar too, him and I can have a jam session. We have a full day.
Honestly, barbecue's our thing. So like I'll always test barbecue out. So, and they'll get an honest opinion from us because that's just what we do.
Anything in Cincinnati is not going to get a good review from me, though.
I mean, the Navy has ruined my taste buds, so everything's going to be good to me. So.
They're playing, I believe, Wake Forest.
Well, there you go.
But it's still Kennesaw State. You know how hard they were to turn around on NCAA 25?
I'm like, who are you talking about?
Yeah, who is Kennesaw State? Now they're a little Georgia school.
They're winning 9-7 in the third. So, damn it, Meg. The same shit he does to me. Like, oh my God, they're off to a hot start. I look, it's 1-0. What
are we talking about?
So, what's the biggest takeaway tonight, Cody?
I think the biggest takeaway is just like what Carl brought up, which is receivers today have a luxury of free releases, not worrying about getting their heads blasted. Now, granted, don't get me wrong, there's still big hits and strategically, so it's not like that gets away from football. We're not fully into flag, but do they have a safety net of abundance of penalties and rules that prevent the defense from being what they were when Carl played? Yeah. And I think Carl, to his credit, when he's asked, well, how would I do in today's game? He's like, well, I'd feast, but how would these guys do during the time that I played? Would they do the same? I think that's a valid question, because we're always asking, the players from before, could you keep up with this time? And it's like, can these guys keep up with what I did? Like, I don't know. And I think that's a great question that we got to talk about and dive in and hear from his perspective what it takes to line up across from Eric Allen or Rod Woodson, and like, okay, how do I beat this guy? Because they're putting hands on me, and you don't just get free releases on these guys.
And he did name drop a future guest, by the way.
He did.
He did.
We got to make sure we get that clip out there for Blaine, or at least pose the question to Blaine, like, hey, we talked to Carl and he name dropped you as one, a guy that he, didn't really enjoy. Yeah, like you knew when you were going to go up against Blaine Bishop. I mean, that's going to be a fun. Again, that's actually got me kind of stoked.
I think it's way
when they're name dropping. Yeah, when they're name dropping guys that we know they're going to be coming on our show soon.
I mean, 1 month from tomorrow, in case he name dropped Blaine Bishop, 1 month from tomorrow, Blaine Bishop will be joining the war room. I almost said the Wayne room.
The Wayne room.
Wanker.
But yeah, no, I think that would be a good reel to get out there for Blaine Bishop to see. Be like, give him a shot before he comes on. We're making this pretty obvious for you, Cody. There needs to be that Blaine Bishop reel. That
and the updated merch for Carl, right?
We don't have to do that. You're right. We don't want to upset the Megs of the world, but like, I'm just saying, he is our first return guest, and it is special because he reached out to make his return. So it's like, it's a special feeling in my heart. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, I can't wait until it's like he texts us every week, like, hey guys, I got another question. And before you know it, like, all right, let's do it on Friday. And before you know it, like, we have several times where we're chit chatting, letting him have the floor. Like, yeah, I can do this every other Friday.
Well, it's one of those, it's like, how are we going to top that? Like we next time he comes on, we have to blow him away. Right. Like we have to come up with something like,
let's be honest though. It's just like talking with another one of the guys now. Like,
I mean, we got to start asking him questions like, does pineapple really belong on pizza? And the right answer better be no,
Correct. Yeah, it does not.
Yeah. I don't think that Carl is a, degenerate that puts pineapple on pizza.
Shout out to Jeff here for the question. Yeah. Beg's question. Can the 60s hold through the 90s? I'm actually going to say that the 90s would blow away the 60s because that was skill and power. And the 60s, I don't know if they had the polished play to keep up.
Guys,
that's what I'll say.
What? Maybe
no, don't even put that on the screen.
Not even like what kind of
Meg, we have a great friendship, Meg. Do not ruin it with your pineapple.
I think, and you think about the 60s was a lot different. Like, yeah, they threw the ball, but not in the 90s. You started seeing them throw just a little bit more. I mean, they had still more of the power, I formations, to today. Now you have the spread offense,
right?
And you also look at the games. Like, now they're up to 17 games now. But you see back, it wasn't actually that long ago. They had 14 games into 16. So it's like Carl in a 17-game season.
In today's rules, especially if he's on the Bengals, right? And what if he is T. Higgins instead of T. Higgins, and it's Carl Pickens and Jamar Chase out there with Joe Burrow?
I mean, can you just imagine offensive minds like Sean McVay, Sean
Andy
Payton, Kyle Shanahan, Andy Reid to play with his height, his skill to jump the ball? Like he would have no less than 1,700 yards a season with 10 to 15 touchdowns every single year for a 10-year career.
If he's with one of those coaches, he's not going under 20 touchdowns in a season.
Yeah, I'm sitting there thinking him and Mike Shanahan's offense, Matt, right? Like, the naked boot game. You always knew that they were going to start with the boot, especially when Jake Plummer was there with Mike Shanahan. That's own scheme. Now you're getting, John Elway rolling out and just heaving it all day, bro. Give me that all day.
Because Mike Shanahan had very prolific offenses. Like, they were a run. They could run it, they could air it out. Like, it was so.
He created an entire run scheme.
right? It was so versatile in that offense. Like his offenses were so hard to predict what they were going to do. So Carl Pickens with Rod Smith, Ed McCaffrey, Shannon Sharp, how many more Super Bowls could they have won? You know, like it does kind of like pique your interest there. You know,
I was going to say, this circles us back to Coach Vermeil's point. Mike Shanahan should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. There was never a doubt about that. He should be, and for whatever reason, he's not. And I think we all, when the five of us were on here, we're talking about it. Like, we don't know what the criteria is for the Hall of Fame. It's not consistent. There's a lot of inconsistencies with it. But I do also want to say, like, I know that the dream of Carl Pickens being on the Broncos is appealing, but I can only imagine what John Gruden would do with having a player like Carl Pickens as well in the type of offense that he likes to run when he had Tim Brown next to him. I think that would have been an even more dynamic offense. And I know that we had an aging Jerry Rice, but having a Carl Pickens opposite of Tim Brown, I think would have made that offense even more electric in the early 2000s.
Speaking of Jerry Rice, Jeff just had a really good comment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out, Jeff. And I mean,
yeah,
to this point, like Jerry Rice did all this before, free releases and not being able to put your hands on a receiver. Jerry Rice probably would have had like 100,000 receiving yards,
I just look at it like Jerry Rice was already getting free releases. He was just that smooth with it.
Yeah.
No, I think the receivers, if there's any position that has it quote unquote easier, we can obviously just rule out quarterbacks, like so many rules for them.
Mm-hmm.
But receivers probably have it the easiest from rule changes, right?
And for me, it's going to be consistency for me. I think guys like T. Higgins, DK Metcalf, who's another one that's like really good. But those guys that I think with their physicality, and they love that physical, they welcome it kind of,
Mm-hmm.
They may not like it, but they'll welcome it. I think they would consistently put up some yards like Carl Pickens did back in the day, whereas Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Odell Beckham, Tyreek Hill, they may not have the numbers all the time.
Right.
So I don't think they would be consistent with it as the other guys would.
Yeah, I think AJ Brown would do really good during Pickens time because he's a big body receiver. But I don't know how many undersized receivers now, like anyone that's 6 foot under 220, how they would do then, because you had to have size to take the impact. And I think like when we were talking about Tyreek Hill earlier in this episode, one of the points I wanted to bring up was I don't think Tyreek Hill would have this long of a career had he played back then, not because he's not fast and a good football player. I just think because of sometimes when he's waiting for that ball to drop, like that's too much time for the defense to come and hit you. And especially with the rules, how they were back then, he would have been probably lit up a couple of times before that ball's dropping to him. And, Mahomes throwing him the ball, Mahomes probably would have gotten rolled up a couple of times to where Tyreek's not really seeing that ball. He might get injured because he's going to get his head taken off by Ed Reed, let's say. So I just think things like that, like it's great today because those rules, cause protection for receivers like that. But I don't know if you take them to the mid to early 90s, could they translate the same way? I don't know if he has as long as a career.
Ed Reed and Brian Dawkins have him locked in. Like they're not even looking to intercept the ball on that. They're like, run.
I'm going to take your head off. Yeah.
The faster you run, the harder you fall. That was their mentality. Like, I agree.
And even some reason, again, Hines Ward. I remember Hines Ward leveled Ed Reed.
Every time, and that's what I was going to bring that up because I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, well, Carl played in the time where crackback was actually like legal, and Hines Ward came to mind because I could always remember him getting fined. And I think Carl was spot on when he was like, I think he was the reason they made that rule because this dude was just a little psycho going down the line and just looking like, there's the guy right there, and then just blasting him. So, the days of like Hines Ward and Anquan Bolden and like Larry Fitzgerald, as sad as it is, because I just named 3 legendary receivers. Like those aren't a thing anymore.
Yeah, Jeff here with Julian Edelman probably doesn't hold up during Pickens time. I think you're probably right because slot receivers would get beat up during that time.
I don't know with Julian Edelman. I don't think so either. I think, especially with him running those, drag routes essentially.
No.
Especially
in it. Yeah, no, that's
respectfully.
Respectfully, yes, because he's still, Julian Edelman. I mean, he still had a great career, great postseason run with the Patriots. So
yeah, I think to answer Mr. Pickens' question though, I don't think a lot of receivers would have exceeded the way they have today back in his day.
Yeah.
It would have been fewer.
I agree. But
boys, that was a good week. Matt, take us home.
Yeah, guys, hey, great show. Thank you, Carl Pickens, for joining. You can find him on Instagram at the Carl Pickens. Go follow him. He's awesome. We were so happy to have him as a returning guest. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you to our sponsors. Make sure you use SPY. You go to SPY website, use code Orange20, get 20% off your order. Thank you, JBW Solutions. And again, thanks for tuning in, guys. Until next time.
See ya.